guys, let's jump into it. Let's talk about this because Biden has tried to sneak a fine into their new budget that they're trying to pass, where companies that don't enforce the vax mandate can be fined anywhere from $70,000 up to $700,000. Now, some people have obviously just realized it was snuck in on page like 130 something, page 168. So it's literally in the middle of the bill. Like they tried to sneak it in. But let's go through and break it all down. And by the way, notice that for this article, I'm actually using Forbes. Forbes is generally not right-wing. Right? No, as far as I know anyway. But everybody is talking about this. Daily Wire, obviously the right. Epoch Times is talking about it. Nationwide, Nation News is talking about it. But Forbes and mainstream media is even talking about this. So this is going to be unpopular. But let's break it down according to Forbes. President Joe Biden didn't just announce a COVID vaccine mandate on companies employing 100 or more people. He plans to enforce it. On Saturday, Speaker Nancy Pelosi's House quietly tucked an enforcement mechanism into their $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill, passed it for the Budget Committee, and sent it to the House floor. Buried on page 168 of the House Democrats' 2,465-page mega bill is a tenfold increase for fines for employers that willfully and repeatedly or even seriously violate a section of labor law that deals with hazards, deaths, or serious physical harm to their employees. COVID has been added to that group, so that would count. The increased fines on employers could run as high as $70,000 for serious infractions and $700,000 for willful or repeat violations. Almost $750,000 each fine. If enacted into law, vax enforcement could bankrupt non-compliant companies even more quickly than the $14,000 OSA fine anticipated under Biden's announcement mandate. So the Biden administration has already started implementing its vaccine mandate and enforcement blueprint. Now, just on this, I heard a rumor today. Let's see if... Let's see if it's right. I heard a rumor today that the Supreme Court actually ruled against it, the mandate. I know New South Wales has had a Supreme Court hearing. So we might talk about that as well. But I can't see anything about about the US. Ah, here we are. So, US court has cancelled the universal vaccine. No, that's cancelled. So no one's saying they've cancelled it. So the US Supreme Court hasn't ruled against COVID vaccines or mandatory vaccinations. Now, this was last updated on the 27th of September. So 3 days ago. So it's it might have updated itself. So they might be literally fake news themselves. I heard a rumor today that it supposedly went through. But like I say, take it with a grain of salt. But the Biden administration has already started implementing the vaccine mandate for enforcement blueprints. I can't find anything on the news about it, so maybe not about the Supreme Court thing. So the Democrats are playing hardball. President Biden embraced an aggressive stance on this earlier this month when he challenged Republicans who are threatening lawsuits over what they declare or decry is a federal overreach. Have at it. We're playing for real here. This isn't a game. Now, obviously, the interesting thing here is the same people that were saying that were the same people that were also causing, making sanctuary cities, 3 years ago. So, work that out. The provision tucked into the House Consolidation Bill on page 168 that increases the fines as reads. So, obviously, we're not going to read the whole legal wiggle jingle sort of stuff. But, yeah. So, that's Forbes talking about it, right? Mainstream media. Then obviously Daily Wire is them sneaking OSHA enforcement provision into the $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill. And, good luck in the Supreme Court with that. OSA fines would jump by tenfold if the reconciliation bill passes. I've heard a few of the even the Democrats are against this. Democrats sneak tenfold increase into OSHA fine in reconciliation bill. So yeah, I've heard. Like I said, I think there's about 2 Democrats that are against it themselves. So that's interesting. And then obviously here in New South Wales or in Australia, New South Wales Supreme Court hears mandatory COVID vaccine challenges. So more than 50,000 people have watched a Sydney court live stream for cases challenging the legality of the mandate. So it's not just happening in the US. These mandates are also around the world, except for Norway, of course. And there are people that are challenging them. So I would expect the US to Supreme Court to hear the challenge on the mandate whenever it came in. Also, you probably just get states that just claim they're a sanctuary city, blah, blah, blah. Sanctuary state. But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, this is an overreach. This is obviously this could bankrupt any small to medium sized business. I know there's like the 100 employees minimum, supposedly, but I imagine that's just a stopgap. I imagine later down the line, they will decrease that number to 10 or something like that. I think at the moment they're just doing the 100 to try and save a bit of face. But at the end of the day, I imagine you'll see this coming, or if the Democrats get their way, you'll see this coming to basically every state or and it'll be for everyone eventually. Anyone that runs a business, like I say, most likely 5 or 10 people over, will most likely have the risk of getting these fines if you don't, force the mandate. Presuming that it doesn't get overthrown in the Supreme Court, which, to be honest, I think it would. I think it's unconstitutional. But at the end of the day, I'm not a constitutional lawyer, so we'll just have to see what happens. But this is the way that Democrats are ruling. They're ruling by decree. Even if this doesn't pass, Biden's just going to try and force it through now. This is why the midterms are so important for all the Republicans out there. And I know I'm obviously starting this early because literally we got 12 months before the midterms. But people need to start going door to door. People start to need to knocking on doors and getting people to vote, especially for the Republican side, because if they can take back the House and Senate, obviously they can block all this sort of stuff. And I think that's what the Democrats are worried about. They're worried the fact that they're going to lose in the midterms, so they're starting to ram all this stuff through. Now, the weird thing is that Trump should have done this stuff, pushed his agenda when he was in office. One of the biggest criticisms I have of Trump is the fact that he wasn't off the gate. He was constantly, and there was the own rhinos that were the problem, and it's not all Trump's fault. But at the end of the day, Trump's problem was the fact that he stalled. He waited and tried to do things legitimately, which, hey, it's not a bad thing. And basically, he then lost the House and the Senate and lost the ability to govern. So at the end of the day, I can't blame the Democrats for trying to push this stuff through while they own the House and the Senate and the White House. They own all 3 branches at the moment. You can't force them. You can't blame them for doing it. I just had a wish Trump had done it with the border wall and or whatever it may be sooner. Maybe even done something with tech censorship while he had the House and Senate. At the end of the day, I don't blame the Democrats for doing it. But at the end of the day, this is why the midterms are so damn important for all the Republicans. Not only do you have to kick out the rhinos, kick out the establishment from the Republican Party, but we also need to make sure that Trump and the rhino and the establishment make sure the establishment's gone, but make sure Trump and the populist right actually win the midterms and can hold back on Biden a little bit. Because let me know your thoughts are in the comment section below. Like I say, midterms are going to be so important. They're going to be important if Trump can replace the establishment with his populists, which I think he's doing already. So good news for that. But guys, let us know what your thoughts are in that comment section below. Obviously, this video has been helpful. Please smack that like button. If you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. Apart from that, guys, I'll see you in the next demonetized video from YouTube. Have a great night. Enjoy yourself, and I'll see you then.